I've been doing a lot of reading lately about Carl Jung and by Carl Jung as well. And a lot of his discussion about symbolism is really fascinating and almost creepy once you see the how it feeds into your life. But without getting too deep into him, one of his many ideas and one of his primary ideas is that we as humans have a sort of innate nature to understand symbols. So, for example, something symbolic could be an animal or the idea of a mother, or he called them archetypes, also symbols and archetypes. And he believed that we had sort of a combined unconscious as people, and that we could automatically understand these symbols. And I was learning about one of the symbols, which is that of the fish, like the swimming fish. And Carl Jung thought that the fish was in the unconscious. So in a dream, for example, a fish revealing itself is basically something that is shocking and unknown coming out of the dark, or something redeeming coming out of the dark meaning the subconscious. And I was thinking about that and more or less putting it to the test. Where else would you see this symbol? And I couldn't think of my own dreams. I don't really have elaborate dreams or anything usually, but I was thinking of The Sopranos because they have so many dream sequences. And there's a number of fish symbols and fish-related aspects that are featured at a time when something shocking is understood or acknowledged. So the first one that came to mind is towards the end, I think second to last episode of season 3, and Funhouse is the episode. Tony gets food poisoning. He doesn't know where from. And the episode mostly, at the start at least, features him going back and forth between these fever dreams. And one of the fever dreams, and leading up to this, I should say, he's been worried that one of his top guys, Big Pussy Bombacero, is ratting him out to the FBI, but he doesn't have confirmation, and Pussy's more or less persuaded him that he's not, even though he really is. And Tony, in his dream, is walking along the boardwalk, and I guess it would be Atlantic City probably, and he comes across a fishmonger. It's all these fish sitting on ice outside of a little market, and one fish starts talking to him, and it's got Big Pussy's voice. And it says, hey, Tony, I've been ratting on you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, $8 a pound, $4 a pound, whatever it is. And he says, I've been exercising, swimming around. It's the best exercise. And Tony says, what are you talking about? You don't swim. He's talking to this fish, but it's Pussy's voice, but he's talking to it as if it's his friend. And then Tony wakes up not long after and realizes, oh my God, he's ratting. He goes to his house, finds a wire in his humidor, and they end up executing him in that episode. But it's no accident, and I don't even know if the writers planned this, but it's no accident that it would be a fish that reveals this to him, this sudden, shocking truth. Another example that I could point to that came to mind, I bet there are a lot more. I just, I'd have to rewatch the show again for the umpteenth time to realize. But another example is after AJ, Tony's son, in probably season 1 or 2, finds out that Tony's in the mob. I think it's early season 1, actually. He's looking around his room and he sees a picture of him and his dad, and they're out fishing, and Tony's holding up a fish on the line. And it's really fascinating because, again, this massive truth about his life, his dad's a mobster, a murderer, a gangster, has been revealed to him. And again, I don't think it's an accident. You have to choose to put that picture out there, but it then makes me wonder, is that an intentional act or is that an unconscious act? If I watch through the show again, I bet I'll start to notice this more and more. There's other symbolism like horse symbolism, mother archetype, mother symbolism throughout the show. And the writers were obviously brilliant, but were they doing this stuff intentionally or were they not? I don't know. And certainly in the Sopranos podcast that Steve Sharippa and Michael Imperioli have been doing, they have certainly, at least Sharippa has not taken kindly to suggestions that there is symbolism that's intentional in these shows. But if you take Carl Jung's perspective, it might not have to be intentional to still be symbolic in the same way. So if you guys like this, I could do other ones, maybe about the horse ones, because there's a bunch of horse-related symbols in the show and actual horses. So we could maybe do that one, but only if people are interested. I don't want to annoy people with these.